Welcome back. This is where we ended in our previous class or pre-lecture. This is where we ended, where we of every item that we went and bought for breakfast that particular morning. Now, this is what is going to happen this time around. Remember, we entered these formulas individually. Remember, we entered them individually. This time around, we are not going to do that. We are going to use our common function in Excel that we call the AutoSum. This is what we are going to use. We're going to use AutoSum function, and this is how we are going to apply it here. The AutoSum will prevent us entering one and the same formula all the time. So by default, we need to clear this formula on the total price column. When you want to clear a content or contents in specific regions on our screen, first you highlight, right click. When you right click, you take clear contents. It's going to remove everything on that region that you've highlighted. So this time around, let's calculate our total price per item. So we are going to put equal to, we need to click on the unit price multiplied by the quantity. I press enter. Now it is 1000. Now in AutoSum function, you need to notice the shape of your mouse on the screen when you place it at where we are going to place our cursor this time around. Now look at my mouse. When it is here, without clicking, I wouldn't click. When I'm here, you see my mouse has a different shape. When I am here, my mouse has a different shape. When I am here, my mouse has a different shape. When I am here, it has a different shape. Now look at what happens when I put my mouse at the bottom right hand corner of 1000. If you don't place it well, you're not going to see what is going to happen. Just take your mouse without clicking. You see a cross black sign will appear at the bottom right hand corner. When you see that, you hold your mouse button, you drag down. When you drag down, you see that the total prices of the items are going to be displayed. You call that the auto sum. One more time, I would clear the contents of this that I've calculated. I'll put my mouse button here and I pull. So you notice that I have the same answer that I had in the previous. Now, what is going to happen with my balance? You see that my balance this time around, I'm going to make it a change. It's going to change this time around. Now, look at my total. The first, my total was gotten from here. This time around, my total will not be gotten from here. This is when we were using the unit price, but now we have added total price per quantity of the item. So it means that this will have no effect there. So this time around, we are going to do something this time around. I'm going to add all of this. Then I will take this 5000 and I subtract from the amount I'm going to have from the summation of the total prices. It's going to give me my balance down here. Now, this is what I'm going to do. I'll start by using my equal sign. Remember, I want to add all of this. After my equal sign, I'll use sum. It doesn't really matter if you're entering in capital letters or small letters. You may still enter it in lower cases, but I like to use capital letters. So I will use sum. Click in between, I highlight all this area and I press enter. You see, the moment I press enter, by default this cell had a formula and the formula was already subtracting this cell from this cell, meaning it was subtracting B7 from C7 or C2. That's why you see by default the answer changes to 300. That's what we were to have as our answer. In other words, we're still going to have 5000 minus 4700. It's going to give us 300. So that's how we can use the sum, subtraction, multiplication functions. Now, imagine that you brought this 300 francs to the house and then this is the balance. And your father says, no, you need to share this money to your brothers. Maybe you have your brother and your sister in the house. Maybe you need to share this money by 4 people in the house. Maybe you need to take to church to put offering or something, give your tithes and so many other things, and maybe you say shared amount. You need to share amongst 4 persons. So I'll need to extend this by double clicking. So my shared amount this time around is going to be 300 divided by 4. Remember, I said we are sharing the money to 3 persons. Here we just need to look at how we can use the division formula. So I'm going to put my equal sign, 300 divided. I'll use the slash sign, division sign at the top right hand corner on my keyboard where I find the numeric keyboard section, divided by 4. When I press enter, I'm going to have 75. So every one of us would have 75 francs or 75 by default. That's what we are going to receive. Now, this is what is going to happen. I have data on my screen like this. This data here is what I need to display to people to see. Now, in Excel, in your exams that you'll be writing in a couple of weeks or a month from now, what you see here when you go to the print preview, the preview for printing, it is not going to be displayed like this with the lines. It's just going to be displayed as something blank. For you to go to your print preview, you can just click on your office button. This is your office button here. When you click on your office button, you come to print and you take preview. When you click on print and preview, you see what is displayed is just a white blank sheet of document with text on it. Now you will be asked to insert borders on your worksheet. This is what will happen when you want to insert border. You just close print preview. It will take you back to this window by default. You need to highlight the area that you're working with. Depends. Maybe I want to highlight this area that I'm working with. Maybe from A1 to K18. That's where I want to highlight. That is the region A1 to K18. So I have highlighted. I want to insert my borders on my cells on this working area. I'm going to insert it like this. I'll right click. First, I take format cells. If I don't want to do that, I'll need to click on format. I take format cells. So either ways, it's cool. So I'll right click, take format cells. Format cells, a drop down small box is going to appear for me. When it appears, you see that in this box, we are going to be using this all the time. You see it's from number to protection. We are not going to be using this protection, but we're going to use from number to fill. So where I find number, it's where I can perform numeric calculations, where I can edit my numbers the way I want it. Where I find alignment is where I can choose the alignment, how it is being placed on, how it is being placed inside the cells. The data is being placed inside the cells. Font is just to change font color, font sizes, font types, and so on. Borders, this is where I need to do my bordering. Now, if you look at the styles of the borders, sometimes you see dotted lines, you see full lines. That's where I'm going to use. So I'm going to use this line by default. So it is either I click inside here by default, or if I don't want it, I remove them this way, and I will click here on the various sections representing the various sections of my screen. When I'm done with that, I click OK. When I click OK, you will notice that something has happened on my screen. I have inserted borders on or inside the area that I'm working with. Now, I wouldn't need this because it disturbs the view for you by default, so I'm going to click on the undo button. So that is how you can insert borders on inside your sheet. So this is what I have. Remember, I am performing a whole lot of calculation on my screen. This is where you can change the fill color. If you don't want to change it here, you can also change it on the drop down that came, and you will see font and fill colors there for you to change, but you don't need to bother much about this. I'm going to teach you what to do again here. So This section down here is a section that I'm entering my formulas on how to perform my computation. Now, my worksheet doesn't have a heading. That's what is so funny about it. It doesn't have a heading, and we need to insert a heading above this items unit price row. You need to insert another row on top. And how do you do that? You need to put your mouse, click where you find 1. The arrow should be pointing to the right on your screen, and then you right click, then you see insert. When you click on insert, you see automatically a new row is added. If you want to delete, you right click again and then you take delete. It goes back to normal. So let's get back to where we were. Insert, I have this, so I need to insert my heading, breakfast items, or items for breakfast. Items for breakfast. This is my heading. But now at some point you see that my items for breakfast is curtain. I don't want it to be curtain always. I need to centralize this text so that it centers around my area that I want to work with. Now my working area, this is it. This is my working area. I want to use a dotted borders so that we will know our area that we are working with by default. So I'll click back where I need to click, and then I get these things done the way I want it to be done. So this is my area from A1 to K18. That's my area. So I want my items for breakfast to be centralized inside this region. You see that when I click here and I click on the center, you see nothing happens. It doesn't really go because these cells are individual cells. I need to make all of this row to be one. How do I do that? I use a common function in Excel that you call merge. So I am going to merge this column. Now, how am I merging this column? I'm going to highlight from A1 to K1. After highlighting, I'm going to show you how to merge using two functions, two ways. It is either you use under the alignment section. You notice that under this alignment section, it is the same thing like when you right click and you click on format cells, because when you click there, you see number, you see alignment, which is here. This is number, which is here. This is font, which you see. And then so many other things like fill and protection and so on you find there. So after highlighting this section, I want to merge. Merging simply means bringing two or more things to form one. So I need to bring all these cells to form one particular cell. This is it. So I'm going to click here. You see merge cells. You can take merge and center. Merge and center will simply merge and centralize the contents in the cell for you. So if I click there, you see that it takes items for breakfast once there. If I did not want that, I would need to click on merge cells. When I click on merge cells, let me undo so that you see what happened. I would highlight again. I click on the small arrow, merge cells. You see when I take merge cells, the cells are just merged, but this one will not be centralized. So I may decide to click here to take it to the center, or you just click at once, merge at center. That's what is going to happen for you. So by default, you can change the font size of your heading, maybe to 14 if you wish. You may change the font type. You don't need to highlight anything here. By clicking on the cell, you are already highlighting on the items. You don't need to highlight like this. It's wrong practice. You just need to click. Any function that you initiate is going to go. So I'm going to choose maybe this for my font type. That's area rounded something, area rounded empty bold. That's what I have chosen for my font type. And I may change my fill color. The fill color is found here. If you click without clicking, putting your mouse on the font, ribbon. Just putting your mouse there, you're going to see fill. So when I click there, I may choose any default color for myself.